socially awkward could lead to nervousness in conversations. We could find ourselves feeling nervousness to fit in, to having phobia, fear of being misunderstood, and all this can make us frustrated in a way that we even struggle to contribute into the discussion or to finding the right words to say. And before you know what is going on, you already find yourself lonely in a social gathering. In essence, feeling socially awkward is not fun. The feeling that we're not in control of ourselves is not a comfortable state to find ourselves in. If you are and believe you are socially awkward, then improving on the behaviors that would help you change this narrative and self-perception about yourself is what we're about to learn now. You can actually teach yourself how to connect with people without feeling socially awkward or weird, irrespective of your past traumas, adverse childhood experiences, or you didn't grow up in a family where you could have been taught all of this. You can also find out things to learn to improve your social and communication skills in this video. There are norms for human behaviors like attitude, beliefs within your respective culture, time, and history. If your behavior goes extremely outside those norms within the culture, time, and history, you might be seen as a nonconformist, a socially awkward person, or a weird person. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is I have a background in mental health nursing for decades. This platform is basically created to promote your mental health and well-being. Welcome everyone, it's PMH by Abby. If you are a new subscriber, thank you for coming in, and please watch the video to the end. If you are an existing subscriber or a returning subscriber, thanks for your loyalty. We are so grateful. Today's topic will be as informative as always, and we're talking about 5 tips to improve our socials so that we not feel socially awkward anymore. Tip number 1. Externalizing your emotions. I was reading an article sometimes ago last week about externalizing your emotions, and it talked about various great techniques you can apply to this. So I'll put the link in the description so that you can explore and read this. Let's talk about this tip. It's important to know that social and cultural barriers can also make exploring your emotions tricky. Some cultures don't actually expect you to express your emotions even in a healthy way, and that's not okay, because learning to put a halt in bottling our emotions is actually good for our mental health. So let's take this example. You're at work and there's a 15-minute huddle, but before you begin the meeting, the team lead says you have a minute brain teaser. And that requires that they're going to ask questions for everyone to participate in, and you're all 10 in the group, and you all have to answer those questions, and it's going to be random questions from the internet. So rather than internalize your emotions of feeling anxiety and nervous, you'd rather speak out, right? But for people who are socially awkward, they will tell themselves in their mind, they say, oh, I'm really dumb, I'm definitely not going to get the answer to the question you're asking me. Some people start feeling that all the people around them will be more intelligent and they will be able to get their own questions. They would definitely look at me like a dummy or like a dumb that doesn't know anything. But how are you going to handle this? You're already passing judgment to yourself, judging other people, instead of expressing your fears and anxiety in a healthy way. So I'll tell you what I'll do. Just simply say, rather than judging yourself and overthinking, internalizing your emotions, and just say this in a polite way. I would not mind if you could ask me questions related to Disney characters and videos or movies. That for sure I'm very, very good about. When you say this, whatever their reaction is okay. This shows you're anxious, but you've related your emotions in a healthy way. You were short, concise, and you did not disclose too much information about how anxious you are. You didn't even say you were anxious, and that's okay. So whoever is intelligent to understand that it's a way to express or externalize your emotions. You're nervous about the questions, and it's okay. But you communicated that in a healthy way rather than expressing negative self-talk and internalizing your emotions. So it's important to know that the benefits of expressing emotions far outweighs the temporal discomfort of breaking social norms. Similarly, you're not responsible for their reactions. You're only responsible for expressing your own self in a healthy way. Ensure you start small and possibly aim to express yourself openly from today and then build from there. Discover your triggers, whether it's certain type of words, people, or situation. Find out what works best for you. Is it journaling? Is it art? Is it coming into group activities or surrounding yourselves with people who would encourage and validate your feelings? So the next tip is similar to this first one, which is, wait a minute, you've been watching this video and you haven't subscribed, please do that now. Subscribe into the video. Number 2, stop seeking unrealistic big energy from people generally, especially people you barely know. An example is told you to join 4 members in a project at your workplace, and everyone is going to be bringing their contribution to the team into this meeting at 12 noon. You get there and you met 4 of them, and one of them turned his chair back to the laptop just immediately when you came in. You don't have to start overthinking that this person doesn't like you. Possibly he was going to do that anyways, and it was just at the exact time he was going to do it, even if he didn't come in. So it could have been a coincidence. It could have been that he is even socially awkward too. It could be that he's yet to complete the task he's meant to do, and he's meant to actually wrap up within those few minutes. Our overly predicting comes from us as children, having to watch out for how the adults treat us. Sadly, we have gotten so stuck into these, and this plays into our adulthood. Generally, if you are looking for reasons in people's affects, you're likely going to find it. Some of us expect that getting into that social gathering or saying something, they have to be super enthusiastic about us. And most often, this is unrealistic to seek. It is quite unrealistic to seek such kind of energy from people you're not close to or people that you barely know. It's usually our inner children seeking that from people. So be mindful, because your inner child is expecting every reason to validate and confirm that people don't like you. So instead, act by journaling about this. Write the patterns you discovered in your journaling. List out what triggers you about people's effects. List the type of reactions you're expecting from them. And lastly, practice telling yourself it's not all about you. If you've experienced this before, please share this experience in the comment section below and let's know how this was helpful for you. I'll be looking forward to read your comments. Tip number 3. This is an extension from tip number 2, okay? You have to understand to check out your feelings whenever you're in a social circle. Try not to bring your inner childhood into a social party or even at work. The nervousness you feel gives you the need to blurt out and talk intensely in a way that's inappropriate. And this can make you feel socially awkward. Take for instance, you're at your boss is celebrating her birthday today, and you're watching a movie for 1 hour, a very light movie with all the team members at work just for the birthday. You all finish watching the movie and everyone is talking about it in a light way and no serious feelings, right? But you blurted out saying, I can relate to the movie. I love this movie too. But for you to prove this, you start saying how your older brother never loved you. You talked about how he always maltreated you as a child. You also talked about your parents' substance misuse or abuse, which played a critical role in causing you to have a dysfunctional family. This is you who have never told any of your work colleagues where you live or how many siblings you have since you've been working there for just 1 month. But you've talked about this intense experience of yours. This is going to freak some people out. And even for you, it's going to make you feel socially awkward after reflecting on it later. The only reason why this reaction happened is because that's what's on your unconscious mind most times. So I recommend you find a licensed therapist to share your experience with. Or possibly you get a good confidant or a survivor of the same experience. Apparently, I mean someone you feel safe with in your life. So tip number 4, it's imperative to note that no one can change your past or erase your trauma. No one can actually tell you your experience the way it is. And the way this experience have changed your life, no one can change it, of course. But moving forward, you can impact a positive change about your future. So that takes us to this tip 4, which is changing the status quo. Let's assume you grew up in a household where the only thing they talk about is hardship, pain, regrets, problems. And fair enough, that's your reality. And you growing up, this is all you've always heard and known that is discussed in a social gathering. So you become an adult and you discuss with your friends. Most people avoid you after meeting you for the first time. They always don't want to create a strong connection with you. Could it be that you are always one-sided in your conversation? And this conversation is always focused only on your problems, your hardship, your troubles? If this is the case, some people will run away from you and will never come back. It's not fun to be the one draining everyone else. So in this case, you might have to start separating your goodness from your story. Mental boundary is key. Let people get to know you for you, even before discovering that story about you. Channel this story to your licensed therapy or registered counselor or confidant whom you feel safe about. But I'm sure some of us will be wondering, how do I separate my goodness? It's simply people getting to know you with minimal disclosure. State your name, the city you live in, what your hobbies are, and possibly what you do for a living. Your experiences are totally valid, but don't disclose too much when you're just meeting someone new. Also, if you meet someone new and they tell you some very brief thing about themselves, you can reciprocate that. You might come across as an untrusted person if you don't reciprocate. This will be difficult to build stronger connections. More so, not conforming to the norms of self-disclosure can make people perceive you as socially awkward. So the next one is the 5th one, which is communication. Communication is big and there's so much broad topics on that, but I'll summarize it as much as I can. Enhancing your communication skills and etiquette will reduce any chances of making you feel socially awkward. Let's look into making adequate eye contact. If you don't make sufficient eye contact and you're talking to somebody, irrespective of who they are, either they're familiar or they're not familiar, you're constantly looking up, down, rather than facing who you're supposed to face when you're talking. This communicates that you're shy, you're timid, you're not interested in the talk. Obviously, you're not going to create a greater connection in this regard. Another thing you'll have to know that is when you make prolonged, intense eye contact, you're going to scare people away. The only way you can do this is by glancing at them intermittently to show engagement without making them feel uneasy. This is a great social skill. When you do this, you're going to create a better chance of people connecting with you and building more stronger connections. So the next step is personal space. You have to practice communicating clearly by directly expressing you need your personal space if you're not getting it. For me, normally I will do between 12 to 18 inches for people who are intimate with me, close family and friends. So however, for acquaintances or people that I really don't know much about, we'll be talking about 18 inches to 4 feet. Just depends. And it depends on the kind of social gathering you find yourself in. But just be aware that personal space is very imperative and you have to do so, because proving a point or acknowledging that people are listening to you and are interested in you or whatever you have to say is not determined by coming in front of them or bulging in front of them for them to hear you. They can hear you, they have ears, they can listen. So maintain your personal space is a good etiquette and communication skills. The most important thing about personal space is to be articulate and concise in your contribution, which will make you heard and respected in a social circle. The next one is active listening. You have to try to use back channel cues like, really? Are you kidding me? Oh my goodness, that's interesting. Yes. You can also use normal gestures like nodding, not just nodding from the beginning to the end of the discussion when someone is talking to you, but it's about when necessary, right? Just use cues that will make them understand that you are actually listening and you are actually the discussion itself, you're present in the moment. Also, you can mirror those that are good in these skills to get better about it, okay? And also ask questions so that you don't dominate and feel too nervous about everything and start blotting out things you're not meant to say in that gathering. So active listening is a very good skill. This helps you to tolerate feeling of ease and welcoming people around you, and it helps to create more opportunities for you to grow healthy connections. It creates a positive environment for you to grow with positive connections. You know, and generally doors will open for you socially and around you in your life, and this will otherwise your social life very, very beautiful. And what happens when that happens, of course, you're going to have a great mental health, because mental health is not all about, you know, just feeling sane and good and healthy, but then you're also having to build your emotional and social well-being in a very positive way. 3 things are very magical in building your self-development, okay? Be kind to yourself, be compassionate to yourself, be trustworthy. So slowly, gradually introduce yourself into all of these tips and see how this makes you feel more better in being socially comfortable around people, no matter how much you know them or you barely know them. It's okay. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope to see you all in my next video. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, tell a friend to tell a friend. Bye.